Okay, I think we're live. I had some technical issues, so hopefully this worked. Okay, here we are this week for room review, and I have a very exciting one for you. This week I am reviewing a small space with a big view. This is a couple who lives in a house. They share a house with other people. So they each have their own room space where all their stuff is. And then they share like a kitchen and a living room. And they live right across from New York City, right across the river. And they have an amazing view of the city. So I don't know how many of you have lived in a small space before. I lived in New York City for many years and I get it. Unfortunately, I had not gotten rid of a lot of my stuff back when I lived in New York City. So I still had quite a bit for the small space that I lived in. So we will get started now and take a look. Let's see, I need to get the movie up. I just had to, oh, that's not what we want. I just had to shut it down because there was too much open. So hopefully I got the movie and we'll be able to go ahead and do this. So let's see, sorry. This down. It's not coming up. So, theater. That's where it usually comes from, and then it goes over to the theater. Well, maybe I wonder if I can't. Let's see, we'll try this and see. Here we go. Okay. This is it right here. Okay, and I need to do screen share so you can see it. Okay, we should be good to go now. All right. Here we are with the fourth room review. And we are, as I mentioned, looking at a small space with a big view. So here we are as we walk in. You'll see there's there's a water pitcher on the left here. There's also a big solid thing in front of us. That's really okay. Solid things are all right. They ground you in your space. To counteract that a little bit, you can have a water feature, which could mean a fountain or something. She's got a Brita filter water pitcher right there, which I think can serve the same thing because you're pouring water out of it often. Or you could place a mirror on that side right there. But because the view is so gorgeous, if it weren't so bright looking at the film, you probably wouldn't notice that black wall there or piece there. Okay, coming over here to this side of the room, let's take a look at this little alcove. I believe she said the bed had been here before, the previous people that lived here, but she likes to be able to have the sunlight coming in, so she wanted her bed facing the window. Looking at some of the stuff down along the floor, if there's any way to store this stuff in a closet just to kind of free up the visual space over here. Also, the curtain and the screen might be hiding something over there. But looking at this wall here, I believe we're about to take a look at the curtains and the arrangement of that picture on the wall. I like the black frame. It's a simple black frame, but it's too small for that space. So I would either do something a little bit bigger or do a grouping of say 3 images with the same unifying black frame. That will balance out on that wall a little bit better. Also, looking at the curtains, if you can hang the rod above the window and extend it out beyond the window frame, that will really expand the look of your window. Also, I would do a lighter colored curtain, maybe a solid, just a white or an off-white, just to frame the window. I don't think the air conditioning unit is in there all year long, so it would just make a nicer presentation there at the window. Also, I pointed out that guitar in the corner. If there's some way you could hang that up so it's not resting there, you could put a little hanger on the wall. Sometimes that's tough with a rental space. You can't do stuff to the walls that you want to do. This bedside table I think is a good choice because it is open and leggy and it's not a solid thing right there. I like how they've mixed open based furniture with more solid based furniture so the space doesn't feel all blocked up everywhere. I like the choice of white for the bed because it is a small space with a lot of stuff in it. That gives your eye a place to rest, and it's a nice kind of soothing spot there. It doesn't add to stuff in the room. I like how they're using all the available space up there. Coming over here, you'll notice most of the colors in the room are red, black, and white. I do like that. It's a nice simple combination. Again, here I would do the same thing I would add curtains here. I would put a rod up there and hang the curtains outside the window frame just to frame this absolutely gorgeous view that we'll see later. Also, if you do own the space and you don't use the shades, you can remove them. The blinds here, I don't believe they use them very much because no one can really see in and they really like the natural light. They probably can't remove them because it's a rental space. Oh, also, here again is where to put the curtains. And I think I just missed talking about the picture on the opposite wall. Again, that is a little small for that space. You could do like one big bulletin board, or you could do a mirror there, or a grouping of three that would fill up that space a little bit better. I really like how the desk there is leggy and clear. I think the top of it is glass, so it doesn't impede the view at all. Down below here, though, you can do a lot of things with cords that can make it easier for you to move around with your chair, but also clean up the look down there. You can do a lot with zip ties and clips and just kind of gather it all together. And you can also tape cords to the leg of your desk. Not sure if I have a picture of that. Oh, here are some clips, some little clear clips that you could put on your desk to be able to guide the wires, or you could use clips kind of like that, just to kind of corral some of those wires under there. Again, I like this red piece. Red has got some good chi. It's got good energy. The black, white, and red themes and green in the room is really nice. That green of the fan matches the pillows and then all the plants that they have, which is another fantastic thing in this room. I like how the bottom of that locker, the red locker, is kind of open down there as well. I think we're about to see the fantastic view. Maybe not yet. Okay, there is another storage piece, and they've dressed it up with some stuff on the front of it. Again, this piece on the wall, I love the simple black frame. I think it's small for that space. Oh, good. I do it here again. Adding a couple of other pieces for a little grouping would make it more visually appealing, or you could do a larger piece, or you could do something like this, like a stencil, just something of interest on that blank piece of wall, or you could leave it blank. I think it's more distracting just to have a smaller piece that draws your eye there and have a big bunch of space than to have it be something either more or nothing. So, okay, here we go. Now to the fantastic view. This is the window. This is the piece de resistance. In their small space, they have a fantastic view of New York City. They also have a beautiful outdoor space at their home there that they can spend time outside in the gardens and actually gazing at the beautiful skyline of the city. So this is where she works right here, and she gets a lot of joy out of that. Over here to the left are a lot of the equipment that she needs to work. I don't know if it always lives there because that looks like a heating unit there, and she probably can't keep a lot of it there all the time. But the plants, again, are a fantastic addition to this space. Plants in any environment, as long as it's not too dark where they won't live, plants will raise your vibration. It'll move the energy. It just is an incredible addition to any space. And I love how they've incorporated many plants in this small space. And again, they are using every corner to keep things. This is a large armoire with mirrored front on it, with a mirrored front. The doors are mirrored, which is fantastic because it reflects actually the the window that is across the room and expands their space. So that was a very good choice for this room. And even though, as I said before, it is a big piece, large, heavy furniture can be okay. It's kind of a grounding thing. It doesn't have to be, a negative, as long as everything you have is not big and heavy and anchored to the floor. I don't know if I talk about rugs later, but there's one little rug that I see in this room. I don't think you need a lot of rugs in this room because there's not a lot of floor space. You don't want to make it too busy. I do like that there's some blank space where your eye can fall. Again, I'd raise that guitar up a little bit, maybe hang it on a hook and pull it over a little bit. Behind the bed, again, I like this simple black frame. I like the image. I think it's a little small for that space. So once again, I would either do one larger piece or I would do a grouping of 3. And then there are some other things that you can do also. Oh, I'll mention real quick here that there should be a bedside lamp on that table or, something there so that each person can have their own personal reading space. Since you are living in one room, it's good to have your own reading lamp. So a larger picture there over the bed, or a grouping of 3. I always do things in 3s, or 3s are better than 5s. 5s tend to get to be too much. But always do odd numbers. There's another macrame kind of hanging you could do, a piece of art of some sort over the bed. Let's see. And again, you could do something like this. You could do a stencil. A mirror would be nice to reflect the view, but a mirror over the bed is not super great feng shui. So if you can get away with it, don't do that. A great option, if you could attach something to the wall, is a Murphy bed. And I've been in many New York apartments that have Murphy beds. You can put it away during the day and have your living space to be in, and then pull it down at night to go to sleep. It just kind of folds up into that super cool kind of cabinet. And here's another city living option, a loft. Again, you'd need to be able to either build something in the space. I guess this doesn't really have to be attached to the wall. That shelf looks like it might be, but building a loft to sleep up above and then have living space below. That's another great city living solution. But then, let's see, looking again at the space, I like the white walls. I like the white bed. I love the green and the red. Coming around here, that's the entry door there. That's the pitcher of water as you walk in. Here is the television, and it sits on this cabinet, which I like. There's open spaces in the cabinet. It is a heavier piece, and it's got a lot of stuff on it, but it's very neat, and it looks organized. If possible, I would prefer to raise that TV up some. It would be better viewing for everyone, and it would raise a little bit of the darkness, heaviness there. But a lot of times, again, in a rental space, you can't do something like that. But the TV being up a little bit would be the ideal position for that piece. Again, living in a small space is super challenging, and I think for 2 people, this is really exciting what they've done with this tiny space. Consider having everything you own in one room and then sharing it with someone. You really have to be aware of what you love, of what you need, and to really truly have a place for everything. So just to review, living in a small space, you've got to be hyper aware of your clutter, remove any excess, and continually edit, and really have a strategy for what comes into your house, and then have a place for everything. When it comes into your home, where's it going to go? Mix solid and leggy furniture at floor level so that it's not, so that energy can flow. Balance your artwork on the walls and use simple frames. If you've got a lot of stuff in your space, you don't want anything to be too decorative. Hang curtains high to frame the windows, high and outside of the frame, but don't interfere with the airflow or the view. Keep them simple and light. Have personal lighting at the bed. And keep the color palette simple but energizing. Use your wall space to hang things like maybe the guitar or the TV. Hide your wires to minimize the look of extra stuff. And plants. Have lots of plants in there. I think this room is very energizing. I think it's really, they've done a great job with this space. I was excited to review it. I wouldn't change a whole lot. I think they're doing a great job. Let me come back here. Okay. All right, I think that's back on me. It's hard to tell though. So anyway, thank you for joining me. I would love to hear your comments, what you would do differently, or what you see in that space as an idea that jumped out at you. And I will be back next week for another room review. I would love to hear if anyone wants to be considered for a room review. I am choosing people from my High Vibe Home group right now. So if you'd like to be considered for a room review, please join me in my group and you can submit an application to be considered for room review. If you want me just to review your room, you can also buy a room review in the Facebook page. So you don't have to, no one has to see it. It can be private. You send me a video. I send you back my take on your room and what you can do to improve the energy, the flow, the decor. So thanks so much for being here, and I will see you next week.